All right. Welcome, beautiful people, queens and kings. How are you guys doing? Hope you guys are doing amazing. Happy Monday. Welcome to the MBR show. Feel free to drop in the comment section where are you watching from. I'm from Canada, Calgary, Alberta. Does anybody know where that is? That's where I live, born and raised. And today we got an exciting show. I'm excited to meet Ryan for the first time via Instagram Live, talking about creating your own path. But before we dig in, let's talk a little bit about why the show exists. What is the show about? Why do I get up every Monday and put this show on for you? So a little bit about me. I am a transformation coach, business and life, certified internationally. And I work with men and women all over the world. I help you to achieve your goals and your dreams. And how do I do that? It sounds so amazing, right? Confidence, clarity, purpose, strategic planning, but more importantly, mindset. You know, your mind is so powerful, and whatever you feed it, it believes. And believe it or not, people, we have the ability to create our own reality. It's the power of the subconscious mind. I should definitely do a show on that. But what you think about, we've heard this before, you become. So if you're focusing on the negative, naturally, you're going to have a negative life. If you focus on the positive, you're going to attract more positivity into your life. So I do coaching. I also am a motivational speaker. I love hosting events for men and women. And it's really to empower you. Inspire, motivate, and empower you to become the best version of yourselves, including me. And I do webinars online as well now because, you know, we've had COVID. We're still getting through all that. And then last but not least, I own a PR agency. So we help brands get their brand in the public eye. And we do that through various strategies. So enough about me. I want to hear from you. Tell me what's one thing you want to learn today when you think about creating your own path. What does that mean to you? Are you an entrepreneur? Do you want to start your own business? Are you in a career that you probably don't enjoy, but you're looking to transition? Are you looking to pave the way for other people using your gifts and your talents and your abilities? What do you love to do? Why do you love to do it? Put in the comment section. All right, so we got Ryan today. I'm going to allow Ryan to come in and introduce himself to you all. Talk a little bit about his entrepreneurial journey. You know, he's the CEO of Hustle Zone TV. How did that come to fruition? What was, you know, the background? What spurred that? I'm looking forward to having him share that with you. So without further ado, let's find Ryan and connect him.
How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I was really excited to be on to today's podcast.
Yes, Instagram is a great platform, right? I would ideally, we didn't have COVID meet in person, but second best option is here. We got the technology. Why not use it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, well, officially, welcome to the MVR show, Ryan. I know we haven't met in person, but I've seen you on Facebook. I've been following you for a while, seeing, you know, hearing about Hustle Zone TV, all the great initiatives that you guys are doing, and I'm inspired, and I want to share that with the viewers out there today. So before we dig in, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and, like, who is Ryan Perez?
Well, Ryan Perez, I am first and foremost my bread and butter. I own a marketing agency called Bowtie Creative, and we we do web development, we do graphic design, we do consultation, marketing, everything that you need, we do. And from that, then I created Hustle Zone TV, and it was a long journey. But what Hustle Zone TV is we are an insights company. We provide insights in the Black community. There's not a lot of agencies around the world that actually focus on the insights of the Black community and the Hispanic community, because a lot of people think that Black is a monolith. And we're not, right? So we consist of so many different cultures. I have a Trinidadian background. I'm sure you may have a Jamaican background. I don't know. And then you have African American. You have people from Africa. You have people from different parts of the world. And we are creating the world's first living documentary, which is going to capture the voices of each member of our communities, to show that, hey, we do have one singular voice, but we're all made of different people. So, we're pretty active on Instagram, we're pretty active on Facebook, and we're pretty active on YouTube, giving content to so many people, to really bridge the gap and to create unity, but creating unity by highlighting the differences.
I love it. And that's the thing. That's my philosophy. Like, this movement is happening around the world. Black Lives Matter. Absolutely. I look at us as all human beings. And the truth is, we all have different backgrounds. We're all diverse. That's what makes us so amazing, right? So
Right.
I want us to stop putting ourselves in a box and knowing that we're like beautiful people individually, and collectively we can do great things together, right? So I love the movement. And the funny thing is, so you do marketing. So we do have a bit of a tie in there with the PR,
Yeah.
great. And I love seeing other business owners do well. Like, I'm the person that wants, like, when you win, Ryan, I win. And vice
Of course.
versa, right? So we all need to support each other in achieving greater success according to what that success looks like, And so now that you have this platform with Hustle Zone, tell me a little bit about, what inspires you, or who inspires you every day to get up and do what you do?
I inspire me. No. Well, I'm a father. I call myself a co-parent. Don't like to say single parent, but I'm a co-parent of a young little boy that gives me ample motivation. But beyond that, I'm often motivated by. I hate to say it. I'm motivated by competition. I really want to succeed. So I put up certain people that I want to, not become, but, I want to be just like. I put those up and I say, I want to do that. And, that gets me going. So there's an internal energy that, competitive energy that I've always had, even as a child, that have carried forward. And, and that's why I continue to, succeed in the areas that I put my mind to.
I love it. My take on competition, you might not know, but let me share a little bit about that. I think there's a very good level, or healthy, I'd say, level of competition, but my message is, let's not compete against each other. Let's compete against ourselves. So I, of course, have people that I admire and I love what they're doing. And I'm like, yes, I want to do that, or I'm going to do that, right?
Yeah.
And that's so important, that we have people that we can look at, like leaders who are paving the way for us, And then when you wake up and you're saying, okay, I want to achieve this today, or I'm going to do this year, this is the goal, that you actually take the strategy and make it happen.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Times I find that, sorry about that.
Yeah,
I should
that's
put
okay.
my phone on, silent
on
mode.
Airplane mode. Yeah, I was going to do this. I was going to do the same thing because I'm doing it.
All right, we pause. Ryan, you're there, or you're paused? Well, hopefully he'll come back. We'll see. Give him a minute. Okay. Are you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
So like I was saying, so you being your own business owner, so you do marketing, you do the Hustle Zone TV. Tell me a little bit more about that Hustle Zone TV. What are you guys working on right now? What is the real goal and the movement there?
Yeah, well, here's the thing is that I think I'm going to just start the broadcast off by saying I'm an introvert and I'm dyslexic. And those two, like when you combine those two together, there's not really good recipe unless you have a way of guiding it. And, the dyslexia, is a great, for some people, it may be looked as a disability, but for me, it's like a superpower because I have a unique way of looking at the world. And when people talk about, in marketing, we talk about target audience, avatars, and we talk about target market. So when we're talking to our clients, we get really deep and interactive with them and intimate, and we say, what's your target audience? And I find that my customers and a lot of people that get into business for themselves, I find that and shout out to Monica Black Diamond. She's one of the partners in Hustle Zone TV. Thank you for showing up, Monica. But I find that target audience creates the sandbox in a person's mind. And a sandbox is that, it's like you play with what you know, but anything outside of what you know is off limits. So I'm not really keen with the idea of asking the customer, well, who's your ideal customer? Because they don't know. I said, instead of saying that, then why don't you say, what community do you want to reach? So that completely changes sorry, my nose, I have some hay fever. that completely changes the conversation, because now we're dealing with real people and real communities that you can do outreach. So pretty much Hustle Zone was created as a community outreach so that I can build Bowtie Creative, because you need the community first, you need the market first in order to then create opportunities to create clients and whatnot. So it kind of works as an ecosystem. We have something for the Black community, but then we create the Black community as customers. We lift them up, give them education, give them an outlet to express themselves. But then when we're in need, we facilitate resources, whether it's through my company or through your company. We facilitate resources so that they can be their better selves. So that's essentially what Hustle Zone began, and it kind of grew into this micro community anyway. I started off with entrepreneurs, but I saw that, people just really liked the name, they liked the vibe, and, so we created so many different ways of engaging them through content. So we do content marketing, but, and then we also provide business insights for leaders and politicians and people that want to get a better understanding of the Black community. We provide that all with our tools. And the project that we're working on right now is called the World's First Living Documentary. And essentially, it's not just capturing the voices of people, but it's also technology that will be the next like you'll be able to look at a video and be able to edit that video in real time. So just imagine, you have your PVR, you're watching the PVR, you can rewind, you can fast forward, but what if I just wanted to take the music out? The music's distracting. I can go into the video, remove the track. If I wanted to add my own conversation to the subject that they're talking about, then I can edit my videos in. So it's a long-term project, because what we want to do is we want to capture one thing that's missing in the Black community is oral history. We kind of took the emphasis away from oral history. So we're putting that all back in to the conversation as a living documentary that will never die. So it's a huge undertaking, and we've raised $1,000 already on GoFundMe, so you guys can check us out on GoFundMe. Go to my page and click on the link. But yeah, that's essentially what we want to do, because you know what? Marketing, the definition of marketing is the study of exchange. The study of exchange. So if you're not studying your customer, if you do not know who your customer is, if you do not know your community, how could you create your own path? How can you, because we live in our head, we say, yo, I have a great idea. Yeah. But it says, I have a great idea. It's not, this is what my community needs. Mm-hmm. It's a completely different mindset. And people are like, I want this fancy car. But how you going to get there? How you going to get there if the people don't help you get there? Exactly. So it's all about putting the people first.
I love it. You just gave me so many good nuggets in there. People, 100 full points. So you are creating, I want to talk a little bit about that whole digital experience. And you mentioned something about being dyslexic, and I love what you said, how that you didn't allow that to define you, that you actually used an opportunity to build you up, and that you're able to look at the world from a different perspective and to see what do people really need. Not I need this or I want this, but giving people the tools and the resources to achieve their goals, right? And so you talk about what you're working on now, this project where you're editing in real time. To me, I know technology is amazing to the ability that we can create anything. I always say this, if your mind can conceive it, then you better believe you can achieve it, right? So
exactly.
Right? And it sounds like a huge undertaking. And so now you're looking at getting funding, and I'm sure that's going well, and giving people the ability to have a voice, right? I think we've been silent for too long. And I know when I used to work in corporate Calgary, I was just told, you're strong, just deal with it. You know what I mean? You become the person that just is taught to deal with it and not to use our voice, not to share our thoughts and our feelings. So I love what you said. I love what you said there. And then talking about how we all are different people. We all have our different, I call it skills, talents, gifts, and abilities. So if you want that car, that fancy car, I always say, well, why do you want that fancy car? What's that fancy car going to actually do for you? But more importantly, you talked about it, the strategy. a lot of times people want things. We want to live this lavish life. We want to have this successful business. But people, what are we doing to achieve it? Are we just sitting back and saying, I want, I want, I want? Or
Right.
saying, I want this. And in order to get this, I'm going to do my research. You talked about that. Understanding your audience. Who are you talking to? Marketing. I always say this because I was taught marketing by Nenshi, who's our mayor, right? I
Hmm.
got to school as a mature student to get my degree, but I wanted to define what I really wanted in my life before investing thousands of dollars into education that I knew would probably not benefit me if I knew exactly what I wanted to do. So
Right.
long story short, you had a good point. When you're marketing to everyone, you're marketing to no one. What do people need out there? And I want to hear from people out there. What do you need to achieve the next step in your life, that next goal? What path do you want to create? These are the things that we should be thinking about as individuals, as business owners, as entrepreneurs, as people working in corporate, or you could be working at Dairy Queen for all I care. We all have a purpose. And I say
Right.
this, Ryan, every day. Truthfully, my purpose, when I found my purpose, I found the life, honestly, to inspire, to
Hmm.
motivate, to empower. I do that and it fulfills me. So
Yeah.
people out there, think about it. What's your purpose? What are you doing every day? Is it fulfilling you? Are you making an impact? Are you creating a path? And if you are, what path are you creating? You know? So when you start Hustle Zone Team, now you're taking it to the next level. What
Yeah.
would you say when you talk about creating your path? What path are you creating for others? Truthfully, like if you were to define that, what is it that you want people out there to know that they need to do in order to create their own path?
Okay. You asked me a few questions. Can you restate that one more time?
Yeah. So with your hustle zone, right, you're on a mission to give people a voice, right, in the
Yeah.
community, Latino, Black community, based on our needs, right?
Hmm.
You think about your trajectory of where that's going. What path are you creating? Like when you think 5 years from now, 10 years from now, what would this have evolved to?
Well, the vision of Hustle Zone is to, to put our communities to in the center of the conversation, because we're so used to not being in the center, right? We're so used to being on the side. And if we are in the center, we are the token. The idea, the vision, there's two folds. The one part of the vision is, to create the center, but the second part is to celebrate each other's differences. And
Yes.
in 5 years from now, we should be able to accept someone who's right-winged, who supports Donald Trump. We should be able to accept their ideologies, kinda, but we can accept them and accept kinda.
I know.
But
It's like, oh, that one is a
we
bit
can
hard
accept.
to swallow. But
Yeah, we can accept, because the thing in our community is that we do a really good job at dividing each other.
right?
So we don't, and Black mental health seems to be, within the community seems to be a big issue, because we don't want to express ourselves and express, what we want out of life, or we don't want to express when someone is has gone over our boundaries, or gone past our boundaries. I think that Hustle Zone, in 5 years, you're going to have people that are going to accept each other for their differences, no matter what their position is. Because, we weren't put into this society. We were brought to this society. There was a social construct that was created to put us in these boxes. So we had to live within these boxes, and the society thrives when we are dividing each other, essentially, right?
Right?
So,
You had a very good point there, and I want to touch on that. People are
yeah.
going to watch this later and that are watching right now. Perez, as I see you, you said you have goals, but they're on hold. Why are your goals on hold? Let me know. Let's talk about it. Division. I just joined the Calgary Black Chambers as their oversight consultant. I'm leading the board on we're building mentorship programs for Black youth. And for us to be like advocacy, be at the table, giving us opportunities to be in political positions, right? Because like you said, we've always been sort of at the center or maybe on the sidelines. And division is something that we've been talking a lot about. Why is it that you might look at the Jewish community where they keep all the business in the community, everybody building each other up, everybody wants to see unity. But in our community, it seems like we want to be divided. And that is sort of the mental ideology that we've had. It's like we've been divided. It's like a form of mental slavery is what I call it. So, for example, I've had conversations with clients who are like, oh, if I sell a house, I've heard from my friends, like they're in maybe, let's say, the Caribbean community. I've had a friend that didn't know I heard that said, if I buy a house from you, I don't want to buy a house from you. I don't want to help buy or pay for his mortgage. I don't want to help support him. I'd rather go to somebody else that I don't even know, a stranger, and support their business. And I thought to myself, isn't that so troubling? Same as it within business. Like when I started my own business now, almost 3 years next month, I didn't even really look at like the fact that I dealt with forms of racism in corporate, like from I was 18, like forms of discrimination, microaggression. But again, like I taught, you're just taught to deal with it, right?
To deal with it.
Just keep going with it. But I thought to myself, I never even looked at my skin color as a barrier even going into business in corporate Calgary. A lot of people I know who started their business have left to go to Ontario or the US because they're like, we'll be more favored there. You know, we'll get more acceptance. But the truth is, people, that's the world we're living in. And I believe it begins with our mental mindset. Like if I look at you and not look at you for the color of your skin, but for what you bring to the table, your insights, your intelligence, your personality, that's the beauty, people. But we've been taught to compete against each other. I don't want you to win. I don't want you to succeed because I'm doing me. But my whole philosophy is, people, we need to adopt the mindset that when you win or I win, we all win. Okay, when you're doing what you're meant to do with intention and you're doing it great and boldly, we're all winning. So I don't have the answer for that, Ryan, but how do we eliminate? And I think my answer is mental. It's like we got to change our mindset. But if you were to say one thing on that, how do we stop the division amongst our people and collectively?
That's a great point and great question because, I've been working in the community for a very long time. I was a youth at risk when I was like in my early or my late teenage years. And then the community came in and, pretty much saved my life. They really put me in a different direction. That's how I got into marketing because I was doing graphic design and whatnot. I was part of this group called Akufa. I sat on the board, and we solved some issues like bringing in more police officers of color into the police force. There was like the train cops that were pretty racist in the, I think, late 90s. Our group was instrumental in putting more diversity in the hiring process, etc. So I watched through the last 20 years, and I had parents who have been here who are a part of the Black community. My mom was the I'm sorry, I just have to go back a little bit because that will explain how I got here. Yeah. My mom was she was the Caribbees. I don't know if you heard of the Caribbees.
I have heard of Caribbees. It's like Sheriff Fest, right? The dance group.
Yeah, the dance group.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she was part of the Caribbees. She was the dance teacher. Her and my mom's best friend Jackie Rodney. So I grew up, watching them. We had paper brown lunch bags or paper bag lunches. I saw it all through many generations of what happened in this community and why. And the reason why there's a lot of division was because there's just not enough people here. The statistics don't lie, right? When you can always expect that at least 20% of people are not going to do well in the community or are going to say negative things. Then you're going to have other groups of people that are going to want to push things forward. But because there's not enough people here, it's really hard for us to take our visions and bring them to light. So what I did with Hustle Zone is that I said, you know what? So I can increase my reach. I'm going to, and I decided this in 2015, I'm going to go to the States and expand my market. So that's exactly what we did. I connected with the Black community in the States, and I took my brand from 0 followers to now 18,000 on one account, 12,000 on the other account, 5,000 on the YouTube account, 1,000 on, so, we have collectively 38,000 followers. I get 100,000 impressions per week. Wow. I get likes every second, and 68% of my demographic is Black women.
Interesting.
And it's very consistent. If you read it's very consistent with Essence magazine, if you look at their media kit, Essence magazines, what's the other one? Ebony magazine, Black Enterprise. My numbers or my statistics are pretty much in alignment with their statistics. So it goes to show you that there is a broader audience out there, and they consist of Black women, but we have to connect to them as well. We can't just focus on our sandbox. We got to get out of the sandbox, and we need higher reach because, I can always guarantee at least 10% of 1 million people, I will get more visibility in my community if I go after that 10% than going after the 10% in a community that maybe has, I don't know the numbers now, maybe 24,000 Black people or less, right? So you're always, like Natasha, you're always going to have division, right? You're always going to have competition. You're always going to have the crabs in the barrel. But if you increase the reach, you're not going to have that much fight.
I love what you just said. It's a good point because a lot of my clients come from the U.S. Believe it or not, like I got clients in Atlanta, like Miami. I'm like, what is happening? Where are the Calgary people? Hello, like I'm local.
Yeah.
It's so interesting you said that. So you took Hustle Zone from Calgary, Alberta, from Canada. How did you bridge it really into? What did you do strategic-wise to build your brand in the U.S.? Was it conversations? What did that look like for you?
It was conversation. It was that I just knew. When it comes to social media marketing, you have to give people what they want first, because, in every company, there is a mortality rate, right? So you start off, you've seen it in business school. You start off the conceptual phase, you come up, you rise, you flatten, and then you decline, right? Most of us are right here. And then we say, I have an idea. I'm going to do this. I'm going to go to the car. And everybody's looking at you like we don't care about your dreams. We don't care about this. And you got to do your seances, and you got to do your meditation. You got to put your dream board up. You got to do all this stuff just to get your dreams. And you're not focusing on the people themselves that are going to pay to get your car repaired, that are going to build you the big house. So instead of me saying, what is the idea? I asked the market, what do you want me to give them? So I started posting subjects that they were posting, and people were like, well, you were stealing people's ideas. You were putting, not stealing people's idea, but you're reposting. But the idea is that if it worked on another person's account, it's going to work on your account. You can give it a spin. You can put your logo, put your branding, and integrate it. But the idea is you have to capture what works, because the thing with social media is that it's one track minded, right? If I like Natasha, chances are I'm going to like more of Natasha, and I'm going to like people like Natasha. So on my feed is always going to be a bunch of Natashas, different types of Natashas, different types of business coaches that are going to be teaching me things. And then you got that one outlier, which is that negative person that says, this or that, and then you block them, but then you go back to your feed, right? So that's what people do. So I just went and I didn't judge, because the thing is, I'm in marketing. I'm in Calgary, and I'm not part of corporate Calgary. I work with small businesses and whatnot, but I was afraid to talk about Blackness. I was afraid to even throw out some of the memes that were super funny, that I thought were funny, but I threw them out anyways so I could connect with the people. And that was the thing with going back to my vision, is accepting people for who they are where they are at. Because the 68% of Black women that are supporting my stuff are business women, right? But sometimes they like to laugh at, funny meme jokes. So you have to really connect with your audience. Every audience is different, and every social media platform has a different community. So you have to take whatever platform you're on, you have to tailor the message. But if you look closely on my social media, the messages are not the same. My Facebook is not the same. My Instagram count is not the same. Everything is different because I really try to understand the essence of who I'm talking to, because my Facebook has more white people. It has more a diverse audience. So I tailor my message. So it's all about positioning.
Absolutely. That's the same thing here. Like if I'm on LinkedIn, I'm not going to put the same content that I would put on my Instagram on LinkedIn, because it's a whole different group of people, like versus Facebook or Instagram. And that's the thing with marketing. And I know this is that you gotta, like when we talk about the customer avatar, you gotta be able to speak like you gotta speak to that person directly. You actually gotta create that persona. What does that person need? What are their pain points? And you gotta speak to that directly. And
Exactly.
that's the key with marketing, right? Is that we all got different needs, and if we can find the connection, and it has to be authentic, of course, with the right person or the right business, then you got a customer for life. That's my ideology on that. But when you talk about going back to creating your own path, would you say that a lot of people are doing, like, I personally feel like people I've encountered, a lot of people want to do great things, but they're sort of stuck. You know, maybe it's because of the, like I say, mindset, a big part of it, or it's the fear of failure, you know, or what are people going to think if I put myself out there? What would you say would be your advice to anybody that's watching or that will be watching on how to exactly do that, to create your own path?
Well, my advice for people to create their own path is that I think that it rang true with me. You first have to know yourself and know what you're interested in. You have to have an underlying passion on what you do. Because once you understand who you are, then you know where you fit in the society. We don't live on an island. And I tell my customers, I'm probably one of the only business people or business, consultants that say, I don't brainstorm. When you come to me, you won't ever get a brainstorm session from me because I live on relativity. I'm always relative to whatever else is around me. So I always ask them, I even had a session with one of my customers. I said, listen to your customers, listen to what they have to say, and put it in a spreadsheet and start accumulating their voices. Put it in a spreadsheet, get that qualitative data, because that's essential for you to make your decisions. Sometimes we're lucky in coming up with ideas on our own, and maybe because we are part of the communities that we are part of. But first, you really have to know yourself. You have to know the community. Then you have to know where you place in that community. And I have a law, and my law is the law of proximity. So I always say, do what is closest to you. You know what I mean? You could go to the gas station on the cross, on the cross of the Calgary, on the other side of Calgary, or you can go to the gas station, 15 minutes away from you. But regardless, you have to go to the place that is closest to you because you're going to spend less money. It's going to be less risky. Right. And some people want to drive across, and you know what? Some people will take on that risk. But in most cases, most of us aren't lucky. So start within. If you want to create your own path, if you're really good at cooking, start there because you already know it. Because the thing that we're not being taught when we hear these fantastic success stories, we're not being taught that most of the people that are successful, GE and a lot of these big companies, most of these entrepreneurs weren't successful until after their 40s because they were already in the industry for 15, 20, 30 years before they went and ventured off into creating their own business. Because you're like, oh, the guy from Uber, oh my God, he's such a brilliant guy. How did he come up with this idea? Well, because maybe, just maybe, he has experience. Maybe he came from an industry where he just had experience and he brought it into it. So, when you're going to start a business, you want to create your own path. And if you don't know where you're going, the best thing to do is start with what you know. Everyone is good at something.
Yeah.
Everyone is good at something. Some people are good at talking. Some people are good at cooking. Some people are good at cleaning. Start there. Build up your nest egg. Start hiring people. Expand your business and then start working on other ventures because now the risk is not there. You got your recurring income coming through. It goes into steps. A lot of people want to leap. Don't leap. You start from where it's closest to you and then build outward. And what's the proof? What's the proof? The proof is look at everything in nature. Even vibration starts from the center and it moves outward. Look at the atom. The atom has a nucleus and it controls the atom controls the all of the cell. Everything, even the particle and wave theory has the same ideology, because again, it always starts from the center and then it moves bigger and bigger and bigger as it gains more ground. So yeah, start from within what you know, and first know thyself before you move on. Hopefully I said it properly. Did I say that correctly?
You said it great. There is so much good content in there, and what you're saying, that's what I call purpose. We all have one. There's a reason why each and every one of us was born. We were not all meant to be doctors, lawyers, pharmaceutical or pharmacists or cooks or chef. We all have something different. And I think that's an issue nowadays, is that a lot of us, especially on social media, want to be what that they see over there. I want this. But it's like, if you weren't born for that, it's not for you people. So you got to find what you do well. What's your gift? What would you do even if you weren't getting paid for it? But if it's in business, you got to get paid for it. And focus on that. How do you bring more value to your community, to people around you? And I love what you said about knowing yourself. And that's why I say, people, like, if you want to be successful, first you got to define success for yourself. It's not, success doesn't mean the same to everyone, right? Mm-hmm. What I want may not be the same thing that you want, or how I equate success. But you got to know yourself, what you're good at, and you got to love yourself for who you are, unapologetically. And if you're able to see that greatness and step into and be like, hey, world, this is me. I don't believe in perfection. None of us are perfect. I believe that we are imperfectly perfect, that we can once we tap into who we are, we can begin to share that with the world and gain greater success according to our standards, according to our levels. But when we look at what other people are doing, you can get distracted. And so when you talk about creating your own path, like I love what you just said, start within proximity. Do it here. Start right where you are, people, what you have, and I call it like the vision. Like, you got to know where you want to go if you're going to get there. Like, you're not going to get on a plane if you don't have a roadmap and end up in Paris if you don't know how to get to Paris. So you get super clear about what you want to see, what you want to achieve, and then map it out. A lot of us want, like I said, great things, but we don't want to put in the work. And that's where we fall off, is we want the lifestyle, but we don't want to put in the work. So when you think about creating your own path, people, I love what you said, Ryan. I'm just echoing it. Find what you do well and do it often. And do more, and see how you can engage more people in that vision. And naturally, you're going to attract the right people to you. And you're going to share more of it, and then find opportunities in business, like you just said. Especially with COVID, we call this word came up pivot. You got to find what is working and what's not. Focus more on what's working. Things that are not, put it to the side. And find how do you do more of that. So I'm big on quotes, Ryan, and I know you probably saw this in the question I sent you weeks ago or months ago now. But if there was a favorite quote, or what would it be? Like, what would you share with people out there that you love?
My mentor, he goes by the name of Gary Martin. He is a civil rights activist. He came from Chicago, marched with Martin Luther King, came to Calgary and did a lot of great things. He was also my sensei. And he gave me two things that, I applied to my life and totally changed my life. When I met the guy, he was like, I knew Michael Jackson. I knew all these guys because he's also a musician, one of the greatest blues musicians on the planet. And he knew B.B. King. And I was like, oh, wow. Ooh, and I always asked him, like, how did you get there? He's like, two things. He said, the first thing is the 3 P's and 3 R's. Practice, 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 repetition, repetition, repetition. You do the things, be consistent, continuously do things over and over again. You get better, right?
Yes.
Second thing was, what's your best block? And not to be there. Don't put yourself in situations where you're going to have conflict. The idea is that, we need to be aware of our surroundings, and we need to be able to decipher what way to go. We know we all have this, and we have an internal equilibrium. And when something don't feel right, like you said, cut it out, optimize your business, cut out the stuff that don't work. If it don't feel right, get rid of it. Because the more, because we're the only species on this planet that second guesses ourselves. Everything else thinks in the moment, in time, and it does what it feels it's necessary for survival. So the idea is, to recognize when your heart, because you know when we say gut feeling, right? And I'm a nerd, so you excuse me when I say this, but the gut feeling, what's in the gut? A bunch of microbes. You know, our whole body's made up of cells and made of cells inside our stomach, which are called microbes. And our organs, they all speak. They are just like the brain. They all have the capacity of reacting to certain emotions. So, you know, everything in the body reacts a certain way except for the brain. The brain reacts and then it's like, no, but I think he's kind of cool. I'm going to see if, you know, he's going to work out with me or not. Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
But your body's telling you no. Your body is the same, made of the same cells as your brain. So you also need to listen to your body, listen to your gut feeling. If something don't feel right, then don't do it. I say that, and my quote is, the best relationship that you have is with your pillow. If you go to bed, right?
I love it.
You can't go to bed because you think in too hard. It's because you're not setting boundaries. You're not telling people what's on your mind, and you're not making decisions that are best for you. Because a lot of us are codependent. We often put up with a lot of things in our lives, you know, for the sake of other people. Self-love. We need to love ourselves so that we can have a better relationship with our pillow.
I love it. I love it. I echo that. Self-love, it has to start first, right? You how people treat you based on how you treat yourself. You have to determine what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. We call it our intuition. Men, get to know you guys have something like that too. Your gut instincts, right? If it doesn't feel right, don't do it. And Ryan, this has been great. Like, you're brilliant. I love your mind and how you think. And I want to thank you so much for taking the time out today to join me and talking about that. These conversations we need to be having these conversations, people. And I think we can stay in the world and we can be blinded by all the distractions and Netflix, the music videos, you know, but we need to get to a place where we look within and say, what am I doing with my life? Am I really fulfilling my purpose? Am I enjoying? Because one thing we do know, we never want to talk about it, is every day is one less day of our life here on earth. So make it count. Let's be impactful, people. And I want to say this, we don't have to impact the same way. We don't. That's the greatest gift, is you're impacting it, and that's your path. Create your path by what you love to do and focus on that. And I believe wholeheartedly, if it's with the right intentions and with the right, go ahead. Do you want to say something?
I was going to say, I'm so sorry for interrupting you, but the one other quote that he said was, and sorry, my nose, I have so much hay fever. It's not even for me. I'm so stuffed up. But he said that, God unites and the devil divides. And, you know, you could be religious or not, and I still accept the message. But all he said is that, you know, don't try to duplicate other people. Don't try to be like everyone else. Don't try to go on their path. Don't try to divide people. What you need to do is you need to know yourself uniquely, and you need to live within harmony with the rest of humanity. Because that's the key thing, harmony. Because you look at the color of the rainbow, all the colors exist on the rainbow, but they coexist, but they exist in their own right? So the idea is that, like you said, is to find your individuality and your own purpose, your own path, and find a way to solve a problem, because everybody has problems. Some problems are more pronounced than others. But if you are a problem solver, you will always be in business. You'll always have money, right? You know, if you create problems, I don't know about you.
That's the truth. That's why people go into business, is we go to solve a problem. It's not to make, that's not the first thing, it's just to go to make money. That is going to be a result of what you do. You make money based on what you provide, which is the solution to the problem. And yes, people, we don't want to compete with each other. I'm in my lane, you're in my lane. If we can come together and do great things, that's even better. But when we get to problems, when we're looking at, so Ryan's doing this too, and I don't even know anything about TV, or I don't even care about community, but just because you're doing it, I want to do it. Wrong motive, wrong intention, there's no purpose there. But if you say, hey, I'm a really good chef, you know, I love to cook. And I know a lot of people need to eat. Not everybody knows how to cook. Why don't you start a catering business? Or why don't you start a restaurant? Or why don't you get a food truck? Do what you love, people, and you will be successful. And you will be, more importantly, fulfilled. and I want to sign up on that. But our time is up, Ryan. You've been amazing.
Ah, shucks. I could talk forever.
It's only an hour we get on Instagram before they cut you off.
Yeah.
So if there's anything else you want to say as we wrap up, and I'm sorry you're dealing with hay fever. That's not fun.
Yeah, sorry. I apologize. Normally I don't. It's a long story. I'll tell you off the air. But I normally don't have any allergies because I'm on the Dr. Sabian diet, but I went off the diet over the weekend because I wanted to just relax, and then I'm catching my behind today. So
it's all good. So how do people find you?
You can find me at Hustle Zone TV on Instagram, on Facebook, and on YouTube. Or you can go onto Google and type in Hustle Zone TV. You'll find me somewhere. Most importantly, our website is being worked on right now, but we really need your support. So if it's $2, $5, $10, $1 million, $100,000, you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. You guys can go over to our GoFundMe. So it's GoFundMe.com/F/HustleZone TV. You'll see the story. You'll be able to understand in depth on what we are and what we provide. And we can really use your support. We had 31 donors. We've accumulated 1,030, and for all those people that are starting their businesses out there, like, it's so important to even just have social proof, because if you're going to raise money, if you're going to look for investors or sponsors, 31 people that are supporting your business is better than nobody. So, the idea is to support each other so that we can kind of build this, so that we can build to help us build our vision, but also to give all of you in the audience a voice, especially if you come from our community.
Absolutely. So you heard it, people. Go support him. He has a GoFundMe. He's helping on giving us a voice, And Ryan, again, you've been a pleasure to chat with. I'll be on his Hustle Zone TV. I don't know what that's going to look like yet, but
you're going to have fun.
And I will respond. It's been a busy, crazy day. I will respond, but I'll be joining Ryan on his end as well. So I'm looking forward to that, people. Stay tuned for more information. Ryan, again, thank you. You've been a pleasure. Just opening up all of that amazingness is what I call it, my new word, and sharing it with the world, people. And that's what you should do, people, is really show up for what we stand up for who we are. And that's what creating your own path is about. So thanks, Ryan.
Much love.
And thanks, Monica, for moderating. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Bye.
All right, beautiful people, queens and kings, there you had it. That was a really great show with Ryan Perez. Go ahead, follow him on Hustle Zone TV. Help him by donating to the cause. Again, he's there to help, people of our community, Black community, Latinos, have a voice. You got to have a voice to enact change, don't we? So go out and support him. Thanks again. And for all you people out there who are joining me and want to connect with me, you know how to reach me. DM me on social media, Natasha_B_Russell, or follow me, or I should say connect with me online, NatashaBRussell.com, to book your 30-minute free consultation. Sounds so formal, but it's a chance for us just to chat, get to know what you want to do, what are your goals, what are your dreams, and how can I help you? I specialize, like I said, in confidence, mindset, because your mind is powerful, strategic planning, because you need that to succeed, and a whole bunch of other things. So again, thanks for joining me, people. Know who you are. You know how I like to end. Be confident in who you are. Be fearless to do what sets your soul on fire. Be bold enough to own your greatness. But more importantly, be you. Because there's nobody else in the world exactly like you. So own your greatness. Create your own path. Do what you love.